A weary single dad, shoulders slumped under the weight of endless worries, crumples his resume in defeat after bombing a crucial job interview. He turns to leave the sleek office building, his dreams slipping away like the papers fluttering to the ground. But then, something unexpected happens. The sharp-dressed interviewer bursts through the doors, chasing after him down the bustling city street. Why would she do that? What secret did she uncover that turned failure into a lifeline? In a world full of hustle and heartbreak, stories like this remind us that one act of kindness can change everything. Stick around to hear how a simple gesture ignited hope for a struggling father and his little girl. Bro, if you're moved by tales of real human connection, hit that subscribe button for kindness lights, give this video a like, and drop a comment below sharing your own kindness story. Your support helps us spread more light in the world. Now let's dive into the story. Meet Jack Thompson, a 35-year-old single dad from a quiet suburb in Chicago. Life hadn't always been this tough for Jack. Just 2 years ago he had a steady job as a mechanic, a loving wife named Sarah, and their bright-eyed daughter Emily, who was the center of their universe. But then tragedy struck. Sarah was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and despite fighting with every ounce of strength, she passed away after a grueling battle. Jack was left alone to raise 5-year-old Emily, juggling grief, bills, and the demands of parenthood. Jack's days blurred into a relentless routine. He'd drop Emily off at daycare before dawn, work odd jobs, fixing cars in driveways or delivering groceries, to scrape by, then pick her up and try to make their tiny apartment feel like home. But the money never stretched far enough. The rent was late again, the fridge was often bare, and Emily's innocent questions about when mommy would come back pierced his heart like shards of glass. Jack knew he needed a real job, something stable with benefits, to give his daughter the life she deserved. So, when he saw an ad for a logistics coordinator position at a growing shipping company downtown, he polished his resume and mustered the courage to apply. The interview day arrived on a crisp autumn morning. Jack borrowed a suit from his brother-in-law, one that hung a bit loose from the weight he'd lost to stress. He rehearsed answers in the mirror, reminding himself to smile and stay confident. Emily hugged him tight before he left, her small hands clutching his leg. "Good luck, Daddy. Bring home a big win," she said with a gap-toothed grin. Jack's heart swelled. He was doing this for her. At the office, the interviewer, Ms. Elena Ramirez, greeted him with a firm handshake. Elena was a no-nonsense professional in her 40s, known for her keen eye and high standards. She had risen through the ranks at the company, balancing her own career with raising 2 teenagers as a single mom after her divorce. The interview started smoothly enough. Jack spoke passionately about his experience in mechanics and how it translated to logistics, organizing parts, managing timelines, problem-solving under pressure. But then, the questions got technical. Elena asked about supply chain software he'd never used, industry regulations that had changed since his last full-time gig, and scenarios involving data analysis. Jack fumbled, his mind racing to recall details, but the gaps in his knowledge showed. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he stammered through responses, knowing he was sinking. By the end, Elena's polite smile couldn't hide the disappointment. "Thank you for coming in, Mr. Thompson. We'll be in touch," she said, the standard line that screamed rejection. Jack nodded, fighting back the lump in his throat, and gathered his things. As he walked out, he overheard Elena on a quick call. "Next candidate's a fresh grad with all the certies, looks promising." It was the final blow. Outside, the wind whipped through the streets as Jack let his resume slip from his hand, watching it tumble away like his hopes. But as Jack trudged toward the bus stop, head down against the chill, he didn't notice Elena watching from the lobby. Something had tugged at her during the interview, not just his skills, but the quiet desperation in his eyes, the way he mentioned his daughter in passing. Elena glanced at his application again and saw the note about his wife's passing. It hit close to home. She remembered her own dark days after the divorce, wondering how she'd feed her kids. On impulse, she grabbed her coat and dashed out the door. "Mr. Thompson, Jack, wait," she called, her heels clicking on the pavement as she ran after him. Pedestrians turned to stare, but Elena didn't care. Jack stopped, bewildered, turning to see the interviewer closing the distance, her breath coming in puffs. I don't understand," Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper. Did I forget something? Elena caught her breath and looked him in the eye. You didn't get the job, not the one you interviewed for. But I see something in you, Jack. Heart. Determination. I've been where you are, raising kids alone, feeling like the world's against. We have an entry-level position in the warehouse. It's not glamorous, but it's steady pay, benefits, and room to grow. I'd like to offer it to you if you'll take it. And I'll personally mentor you on the software side. Everyone deserves a second chance. Jack stood there, stunned as tears welled up. Why? I failed miserably in there. Because kindness isn't about perfection, Elena replied softly. It's about seeing the human behind the resume. You've got a little girl counting on you. I get that. Let's make this. In that moment, on a busy Chicago sidewalk, a simple act of empathy bridged the gap between stranger and ally. Jack accepted the offer, and over the next months, he thrived. He learned the ropes, got promoted within a year, and even helped Elena with a tricky repair on her car. Emily started thriving too, with dance classes and a full belly, her laughter filling their home again. This story isn't just about Jack and Elena. It's a reminder that in our fast-paced American lives, from the bustling cities to the quiet towns, kindness can turn tides. We've all been the one walking away in defeat or the one with the power to chase after and lift up. In a nation built on second chances and community spirit, let's choose to run toward each other, not away. So, as you go about your day, look for that opportunity to extend a hand, share a smile with a stranger, offer help without strings, or forgive a mistake. Because kindness lights the way forward, one heartfelt gesture at a time. Thank you for watching Kindness Lights. Spread the light to